Hi, my name is Paddy Hirsch. I'm a Senior Editor at Marketplace, and today I want to talk about write-downs. The reason being because write-downs have become part of the lexicon of this financial crisis. As we've tracked the fallout from the financial crisis through the economy, we've seen businesses, from financial businesses right the way through industrial manufacturers, all been affected by these write-downs that they've had to take. So what exactly is a write-down? Well, let's explain this. Pretty simple concept when you see it. Expressed as a single word, write down, but obviously as two words when you write something down. And it's an accounting term, and it means when you actually value something down on your ledger or on your balance sheet, when you're valuing things at the end of the month or whenever you're totting your business up. So to explain this, let's use our toy seller, here's our toy store guy. His name's Tom. All right, now Tom he's a big seller of Beanie Babies, okay, and he's got these star-shaped Beanie Babies that he got from Taiwan in their hundreds of thousands. In fact, he bought 500,000 of them, okay, and he has done his market research, he's checked things out, he's gone to the local stores, and he reckons he can sell these things at $10 each, which obviously gives him a net value for all of these Beanie Babies of $5 million. All right. So when he does his accounting at the end of the month, when he's working out the value of his stock, in that column where he's putting in the value of the Beanie Babies, he puts in 5 million. That's where he writes in the value of his stock. Now, what happens if there is an issue in the Beanie Baby market? Say, the Taiwanese make so many of these things that they now flood the market, or there's a problem with Beanie Babies where they become less popular for whatever reason. Well, suddenly the market falls out and they start to trade down, or the stores are in the area around Tom start to reduce the price for these Beanie Babies. And the next year, this is in 2007, say, so 2007 they're worth 5 million. The next year, after this kind of glut problem in 2008, he realizes they're actually selling at $5 a Beanie Baby, which means that he's got a total value of 2.5 million. And when it comes to doing his accounting and entering everything in his software sheet or whatever it is that he's got, he has to write down the value of these Beanie Babies from 5 million to 2.5 million. And it's as simple as that. By going out to the market, by finding out how much your stock is worth, at the end of the year, you then write down the value of that asset. And it could be anything from a Beanie Baby to a bond. And that's what a lot of the financial companies, or all the financial companies and the banks have done. They've gone out, they've valued their bonds and their stocks and their loans by looking at the market and seeing what the market says they're worth, and they've been marking them down or writing them down on their balance sheets. So that's a write-down of like a tangible asset of something that you have, like a Beanie Baby or a bond, as I say. That's something there is a market value for, and you can write it down and register it very easily. But what if it's less easy to have an actual price put on this stuff? What if you have something that's an intangible? Say for example, Tom decides in 2007 to go out and buy a toy store. Okay. This toy store is on the main street in his town, and he knows that it's going to be a good business in the future. He wants to plop some money down for this. So he goes around and he asks the real estate agents how much this property is worth, and they tell him that given the state of the industry and the way that the building is put together and all the rest of it, that this is worth so the market value is say $1 million. Okay, right, that's the market value of this place. But now Tom really wants this place. That's the first thing. So he wants to beat out any other comers. And the second thing, he believes that in the future, this business is going to be worth a great deal. The economy's booming. Everybody loves toys. There are kids everywhere. The local population's growing at a rapid rate. He believes that it's going to be a great business. In fact, he believes it's probably going to be worth $1.5 million in a year. Okay, so he says to himself, right, I'm going to bid $1.5 million for this. So he goes out, puts his bid in, 1.5 million. Okay. Now this 0.5 million, that's entirely based on his projections. The market value is $1 million. The $500,000 on top of that is his projection, his estimation of what this business is going to be worth. And when the deal closes, okay, and that becomes the actual recorded price of the asset that he pays $1.5 million for it, it means his accountants are therefore able to put a value on what's called the goodwill. All right, the goodwill on this business, which is its projected value in the future, is $500,000, all right? $500,000, okay? And they can enter that as as almost as an asset on the balance sheet. But it's obviously an intangible. It's not something you can see. It's something that you project. So when this is in 2007, of course. So when 2008 rolls around, well, we've had this same problem, all right? We've had this problem with the toy business. In fact, it's not just Beanie Babies that are in having problems. It's the whole toy business. The economy is being impacted. People aren't buying as many toys. People have been moving out of this town that Tom lives in, and the value of the projected value of the business is beginning to fall. So the accountants look at the goodwill. They look at the state of the economy, the local economy and the national economy. They look at the state of the toy business, and they say to Tom, you know what? We are going to have to write down the value of your goodwill. They have a calculation that they do, and they say, we don't think it's going to be worth as much as $1.5 million in a year. We think maybe at this rate, maybe $1.25. So what do? They write the goodwill down to $250,000. Okay, so they write it down, and it actually goes in that column on the balance sheet. They write it in: goodwill in 2007, $500,000. Goodwill in 2008, $250,000. Okay, it's written down. And a good example of this is what happened with News Corp recently. It bought Dow Jones and Company a while back, but in its most recent earnings, it actually had to write down the value of that goodwill because it paid a significant amount over the market price or the estimated market price at the time for Dow Jones. And the goodwill, I believe it was a 65% premium on the market value according to the value of its shares at the time. So the extra that it paid was actually the goodwill, and it had to write that goodwill down because the business of Dow Jones, the newspaper business and the publishing business, is not going to be so good, or is not projected to be so good in the next couple of years because of the state of the economy and because of the way the newspaper business is going. So the accountant said, right, we're writing that down. News Corp had to register it on their balance sheet, and it became a matter of public record. So there's your write-downs. Firstly, you have your mark-to-market write-downs, where you can go out and you can see what the market is paying for the assets that you have either in your portfolio or the products that you have in your store, and you write either down, up. You can write up. There's not much writing up going on right now, but or you write down the value of those assets or goods that you have, or you have your intangibles like your goodwill, where your accountants will tell you according to their calculations whether you should be writing up or writing down the value of your goodwill. And what's been happening recently is because the economy has been so badly impacted and we're having so many problems with the credit crisis and the economic crisis that's following, that almost everybody is writing almost everything that they have down in the balance sheets. That's leaving everybody very badly needing a drink.